She wasn't looking for a knight. She was looking for a sword. The spiritual warrior actually dancing and dances between devotion and destruction, guys. And it is weaving both into destiny. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Venus and Neptune conjunction, which is going to start a synodic cycle on May 2nd, 2025, 0 degree Aries, right? And this is the first kiss from the universe of fire for us. And Venus and Neptune, when they haven't really met in Aries since 1862 over here, and especially because it's going to happening on the 0 degree karmic critical degree, which is actually a major karmic initiator energy over here, and it's going to bring in a collective shift for us. We also have to talk about the asteroid Cassandra and Child and Abundancia because the Neptune-Venus conjunction going to happen on those asteroids, and we're going to talk about Sedna because it's gonna sextile with Sedna in Gemini, which is actually a Venusian energy in flavor, the sextile energy. And also we're going to talk about Kerp, which is a fixed star at 1 degree Aries, and it's going to happen on that degree, right? So let's talk about the archetype over here. And first of all, if you're new to my channel, then welcome, and please give me a chance and subscribe to my channel. And I truly try to bring in a lot of information and try to interpret the aspect I'm talking about with my deepest researches. And usually I bring in historical parallel up as well. But you learn a lot with me because I'm truly obsessed with asteroids, and also I look into fixed stars as well, but asteroids my favorites as well. And we're going to learn about the archetypes of asteroids and what kind of collective shifts they can bring in to our life as well. So let's talk about right now Aries here. And Aries is actually a cardinal fire signs, guys. So it's very impulsive, and it's actually ruled by Mars. The traditional ruler is Mars. The esoteric real ruler is actually Aries, which is the sister of Mars. And Aries is really discord and chaos. And Aries wants us to suffer. But Mars actually is the Roman goddess of war, for example, and also the raw aggression, the primal masculinity, for example. And it linked to the ram of the golden fleece, a symbol of divine rescue and also sacrifice and kingship as well. So the Aries energy, it is like a divine ignition. It does not overthink. Aries does not think whatsoever. It acts, it leaps, and it get burnt many times, but it will try again and again because there is a lot of spark and flame, and the heartbeat says, I'm alive, let's do it, let's go, that Martian raw masculine energy. All right, and then let's talk about Venus also in Aries, because of Venus in Aries, actually, it's in detriment. The essential dignity of Venus is very low over here because Venus is very sensual and receptive and, diplomatic and peaceful. And Venus is peace and Aries is war, right? So the divine masculine and the divine feminine in the sign of the divine masculine, the sign of the lover, but can't really take that kind of burning fire, constant anger, and constant act. So, Venus like to be a muse and Aries is a hunter. So, it's not fitting very, very well over here. All right. So Venus in Aries, actually, if you have Venus in Aries, it's in your natal chart, it is wide love. It could be also lusty and bold and impatient, a lot of sexuality and sensuality. It's more like a lot of sexual energy with Venus in Aries, right? Um, all right, and especially, I know it's in detriment, but it's still like to seduce, right? So, and then we're going to talk about the Neptune archetype as well. But you have to know Venus is actually the true yin and yang in our chart, because we were talking about that in previous videos, but Venus is really the Lucifer morning star and the evening star that is representing the bright and the dark side of us as well, and the typical duality in our life. Venus is not only beauty, but it's also self-worth, and it's also actually money as well. Uh, Actually, it is currency as well, so it has a very, very deep material interpretation as well. And let's talk about Neptune here a little tiny bit. And maybe actually let's get deeper into Neptune right now. So, for example, Neptune in Aries is also out of element because Neptune rules the ocean and it rules Pisces, a sign before Aries, the 12th sign. Neptune is the eternal womb. Neptune rules, for example, the underprivileged, right? Anything to do with oceans and dissolution and the dreams. Neptune is our dreamland, right? Uh, and in Aries, it is Neptune is the wave, but those waves are crashing right now and hard, very, very hard. Uh, it is almost like, okay, just imagine a scene where is like mysticism with some kind of war drum, when we are becoming the spiritual warriors and we are going into war for the collective, but it is a spiritual mysticism, mystical, or perhaps even a religious war, and you hear the drum before, the Aries is the one that is initiating something, drumming loud, right? And what is the myth behind Neptune? Neptune is actually Poseidon and ruled the sea, but also caused earthquake as well and floods, right? And right now, North Node is in Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune, and the traditional ruler is Jupiter over there. And because of the collective shift, North Node also going to bring in a lot of hurricanes and earthquake as well, guys, right? And also Neptune could be the shapeshifter as well. And Neptune destroys boundaries because Neptune doesn't know boundaries whatsoever. And especially in Aries, it's going to destroy boundaries because of the waves of passion, and it's erasing the boundaries. So and it is also borders because Neptune doesn't have borders at all. It's migration, immigration. We will see how is going to change the the borders of the earth, like the country's borders going to change. And it's not just because of earthquake and floods, right? But it's also because of wars as well. And Neptune in Aries, actually, vision and fire, it's spiritual urgency, something to do with art as well and the collective dreams. And it is going to um, have a lot of prophetic dreams. We're going to have a lot of prophetic dreams. And for example, we're also going to have a lot of protests, but it could actually ignite movements, music movements, and documentary movies, which is going to talk about like wars and underprivileged, orphanage, and homelessness, and anything to do with, for example, maybe the Middle East, right? So there it's going to be a lot of wars. Or, we're going to have more documentaries about prisons as well. Who are they treated in the prison, the delinquent, for example. So let's talk about Neptune a little bit, and who is Neptune really? Because in the 12th house in Pisces, it could be very mystical, fluffy, Neptune like a Neptune is the eternal womb, so it's definitely very spiritual and very dreamy and floaty as well. It is a planetary portal, right? And also planetary portal to cosmic consciousness and universal compassion as well. And it is also the kind of soul level grief or beauty that knocks the wind out of you. So I know it sounds dramatic, but believe me, it is. And Neptune is really transcendence. And also, Neptune could be madness as well, because Neptune is ecstasy and fogginess. And the divine fog and the divine melody. It could also be the heroin needle, guys, right? Because Neptune also rules addictions, alcoholism, anything to do with drugs, the drug lords, the cartel, the mafia as well, with the eighth house. But yes, it has a huge connection over there. It's also the mystic and also the martyr and the addict, which is swimming actually in the same damn current, right? Those are all swimming together. And as I said, it dissolves boundaries, it dissolves borders. It is migration, the exodus, like the Bob Marley song Exodus absolutely comes up for me with Neptune because of it is like not only spiritual movement and spiritual migration, but also, natural disaster related migration or, war migration. And because Neptune also inflation as well, so it rules the underprivileged, the poor, the orphans, the veterans, the uh, anything to do with homelessness as well, so migration because of uh, uh, those kind of subject as well. So yes, and also Neptune, it takes 165, 64 years to take a full lap around the zodiacal cycle, right? And it was actually discovered in 1846. And that's when it was, the world actually had some kind of socialism, and we also discovered romantic poetry, and we had a lot of romantic poetry not discovered, but that time, and also we discovered photography, right? So Neptune is illusion, and Neptune is filmography, photography, and also script writing as well. So Neptune became, after that, the modern ruler of Pisces, because I was mentioning Jupiter is the original traditional avatar of Pisces, right? But Jupiter rules Pisces at nighttime because it rules Sagittarius in daytime, right? So Jupiter had to share the throne actually with Neptune over here. And Jupiter doesn't really like to, for example, share the throne, for example. But, Neptune is really, just very illusionary and delusional and not really strong like Jupiter. For example, Neptune is an outer planet and Jupiter is actually a social planet. It's a lot closer to the Earth than Neptune. Neptune is further away, right? And Neptune is also Christ-like energy as well. It is the crucifixion as well, right? And Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, the higher octave of love, and it's conjunct with Venus right now. So why Venus is your I want flowers and someone to cuddle me kind of love. Neptune is I will die for you and actually reincarnate through 9 dimensions to find you again and again and again. It is that kind of deep, devoted, also somehow delusional love as well. It wants to have the soulmate, the twin flame in the other partner. And Neptune was obviously, we were talking about that to named after Poseidon, right? And which is actually Poseidon is not feminine, but the water itself and Pisces itself, it's a feminine energy. And as we talked about that, it's the eternal womb, right? It is the womb itself, it's feminine, right? And Neptune is actually the divine mother, and it's supposed to be a female figure. And actually, before Genesis and the garden snakes, before, the thunderbolts, and it was actually a her, it wasn't a dude. It started with Namu, and that was the name of the original sea, and it was the lady of the beginning, the source of life, anything what was, giving birth to heaven and earth before there was nothing. She didn't need a man, a blueprint, or a sermon. She was the blueprint. Namu. Later, the myth actually evolved as stories often do under patriarchy, and Tiamat stepped in. And it was an other sea goddess, right? Someone who is the divine chaos, fierce west. And, her consort, Apsu, the sweet water. Together, they birthed the gods, all of them. And what did the gods do in return? They killed Apsu. So that's right. And, the kids turned on daddy, and Mama Tiamat was really, really pissed. So she didn't cry. She created monsters, dragons, chaos, serpents, the kind of divine wrath only, what sea mother can bring. That was kind of revenge over here, or, uh, the heavens were on the verge of collapse, and Marduk, the golden boy, the storm god, stepped in and sliced her into two and made the heavens and the earth from her corpse. So that's the mythic metaphor for consciousness separating from unconscious, right? The ego over here and the subconscious. Was it necessarily where, ego is actually helping us to stay alive? So, and also let's not pretend she was not violent, because she was, um, because the divine feminine was literally torn apart to build a world, for example. So in Egypt, the same soul song in different robes, we get Mut, the great mother, and her name literally means mother, and she rose from abyss of none, the infinite waters. Nun was the oldest god, but he had a shadow side, the feminine half, Nonet. Together they were the infinite, and the snake eating in its own tail, the eternal cycle. Then there was Happy, and that was actually a river deity. And actually, it was the Nile in human form. Both breast and beard, because the life source holds all polarities, the yin and the yang. He was called the primal one, the one who made the land breathe again after each flood. And life always comes from water we always need to actually have our seeds becoming seedlings, right? So that's very, very, very important. But later then obviously it became Poseidon, and Neptune became male over here. But you have to know the history before, the mythology before, because of Pisces is feminine, and it is the Venus is the younger sister, and it is the higher octave of Venus over here. Yes, definitely, it was female energy over here, right? Okay. And Then, actually, I also wanted to tell you that, before Poseidon became the moody trident wielding sea king, crashing waves and throwing tantrums, Poseidon was actually just the husband of a mother over here. Fertility, anything to do with earth, seed, and soil, not storms and tsunamis. His early roots were actually wrapped around Demeter, the grain goddess, and it was only later that he was handed the ocean, a symbolic hand-me-down taken from the goddesses he used to serve. So that's the story behind Neptune over here, and the rulership actually in Pisces. All right, and then we're gonna go and we're going to talk about Neptune a little bit. It is actually rules Pisces, and actually it is a detriment in Virgo, right? And Neptune is exalted in Leo and fall in Aquarius. The keyword of Neptune here is, for example, like forgiveness, very, very important, and also addiction, anxiety, but also inspiration and compassion and madness, confusion and martyrhood, anything to do with deception and also merging things together, mysticism, anything to do with diffusion as well, and disillusionment, and also something to do with oceanic consciousness and the oneness and dreams and psychic sensitivity, ecstasy, anything to do with romantic love, sacrificing love, and also self-sacrifice, martyrhood, and escapism. But Neptune also enlightenment and fantasy world, sensitivity, spiritual values, and fascinations as well. And Neptune is glamour, guys. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, so it is glamour as well. But it's not only forgiveness from martyrhood, it brings guilt as well, and it is the transcendent and also uncertainty, the fogginess, the mist as well, and illusion as well, and ideas, universal love, but also its weak boundaries. And as I said, it's also rules socialism as well, or communism also, and inflation as well. So, the creative expression of Neptune is imagination, but the destructive expression is, deception. So it's not inspirational, it's deceptive. And the creative one is sensitive, and the destructive expression is unstable. All right, so then we're going to go further a little bit over here. And also because of Neptune could be really self-destructive as well, how we said before, but and delusional as well, but also could be compassionate and visionary as well. So right now it's Venus and Neptune that we're going to talk about, but we also, when Neptune was in Aries, it was, and Pluto was in Aquarius, it was actually in central time 60 and 73. And that was when the Roman occupation in Britain, right? And that one when we had Christianity spread, but it spread like fire, right? And it was actually those kind of religious war back then. And right now, I told you guys with the Pope and the Pope death, I told you either Popeism going to totally change, or we're going to have some kind of deceptive war, a religious war again. So that was the time when Pluto was in Aquarius also, and Nero was also ruled. Nero was ruling Rome, and there was a lot of brutality, and it was also actually a Jewish war. back then as well. And then next time when Neptune was in Aries, it was actually uh, 34 and 1547. And Pluto was also in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini. So that's very, very important, right? Because of actually those are creating a sacred triangle in heaven from one trine and two sexti, right? And that is actually, I call it the saving grace. And it's happening right now again, really, really soon. And that was when actually in 1534, Henry VIII served ties with the Vatican and declaring himself to supreme head of the church, right, in England. So what do we hear right now? I mean, I don't know if it was just a joke or not, but or just a meme, or I didn't really check, fact check this one, but I heard like Trump is saying he could be a good pope over here. But anyway, when you check the five candidate for popeism, papacy right now, you can see what kind of huge differences right now the way the popes was before. And it's not just like, okay, the geographically where they are coming from, but also just check the history of them. So it's going to definitely bring in some kind of major change, which could become the last pope in history right now. So yeah, definitely. And we also had a lot of protests during that, and it was like bitter clashes between the Protestant and the Catholic Church as well. So we will see there will be some kind of religious war coming up right now. And when Venus actually conjunct Neptune in Aries, it is uh, because Aries is the fire, and Neptune is the fantasy over here, and Venus is the divine seduction. It's bringing some kind of major sparks and ignites some kind of spiritual or religious movement for us, or religious war for us as well. It's when someone says, I love you too soon, and it means, like, all right, kind of love you, And it is also when fantasy could become so loud, you have to make it real because you're going to start to talk about that. And people are going to say, all right, so is it just some kind of, like lies over here, or is it have any background? And then you are like, okay, maybe it started like a lie because that was my dream, my fantasy, but right now I'm going to actually make sure it's going to become a reality and it's going to manifest. Yes, so it's also because of it could be fated attraction and first love. And the first love, it could be something very, very confusing because Neptune is confusing. Or it's going to feel like karmic or destined, like knock the wind out of you because of you are like, oh my God, I see this person. And even if I'm in a relationship, I just feel like this is karmic. I met this person in my previous life and I'm not delusional. That's it. I gave up everything from my past and I'm just going to go with this person because you are drawn to this person. And it doesn't necessarily has to be actually a sexual, spiritual relationship, a true love over here. It could be even partnership, like working with someone or start to business with someone. You just feel it like, it's very primal, it's very raw, it's very, like kind of strong, rich energy. And also, it is the time, Neptune and Venus, when the muse shows up and, it's barefoot and singing and, sweaty and maybe dancing under the full moon on the beach and very erotic and very poetic and very divine, very delusional and illusional, but it still somehow doesn't look like it's dreamy or illusional. It feels very real. And also, it could be a lot of addiction coming up. And it could be like, okay, I'm actually escaping to addiction with a romantic partner right now, or because of a romantic breakup, or because of I don't have any romance in life, and then I'm going to have some kind of addiction, or addiction to fantasy as well. Like you're living in your fantasy world. You don't want to look into reality. But also, it could be like a creative breakthrough for a lot of people. Like, okay, you write, for example, a song in 10 minutes. And the most important over here with Venus and Neptune, don't over edit. Neptune doesn't want to, just give it as it is, because your heart and soul is in it. And, it's flashes of geniuses right now, because you actually downloading from the Akashic record, from the universal knowledge, and you are capable to write that, to dream it, to dance it. It's very, very important right now. This is your calling, and you have to trust it. Okay, you don't have to test it. It's not Mercurian energy, right? It is passionate, compassionate, purposeful, loving, and sensitive and sensual energy as well. But the shadow side of this whole fantasy, spiritual warrior, kind of persona or person over here, is to falling for fantasy and not for a person. You dress that person up with some kind of good qualities which doesn't exist. It is just in your imagination. Or, maybe the lust, what you feel for that person, going to totally distract you from the person who you really are, because there is a lot of mojo and chemistry, and you don't see the person is actually a thief or a liar, or, like an alcoholic. You don't want to see it. You are living in illusion. And there could be also some kind of spiritual bypassing as well, because you feel connected, but it doesn't mean it's healthy. Um, and not every psychic is sacred, or wants to have you, have the best intention over them. And also, it could be like, all right, there is an old pattern over here. You just put some glitter on it, right? You just make it more beautiful and delusional and glamorous. But the pattern, the subconscious, the um, living in fantasy world or escapism is the same over there. You just choose a different. For example, somebody was a gambler before, right? That is also some kind of addiction. And all right, not gonna gamble anymore. Oh my God, I healed myself, but it's going to hunt every single day, because they have to have that adrenaline and that kind of serotonin support in the brain, right? So that's what's happening over here. And we also have to talk about actually, like, for example, the fixed star curve, right? Because it's on 1 degree Aries. And as I said, the 0 degree Aries is the Akashic record, right? No, not Akashic record, the word axis, I'm sorry, the word axis. Neptune is the Akashic record, actually, but Neptune is also a sacrifice as well, right? And the curve, which is written like KERB, and it is actually the constellation of Pegasus, and it is a winged horse. Um, and it is a bright white and blue star, and the nature of Venus and Mercury blend together. So it's very, very charming and intelligent and artistic and inspirational. And actually, it's represent creativity as well, right? So the symbolism over here, it's to bring great honors, anything to do with art, and unexpected gains and good fortune and riches, and also something to do with cleverness and idealism as well. it is, self-seeking. It could be impulsive, right? Especially the shadow of curb over here, but it's also very, very unique, and it is ability to rise, for example, or also it could fall dramatically as well, right? Because of that is the wing horse, so it could go up, fly up, and for example, fall from courier or fame, or it could bring in some kind of shipwrecks or accidents or flight disasters, right? Because the wing could represent that, right? And it is in the sign of Aries, which is fiery energy. But definitely could be some kind of indirect karmic danger, right? And also, it's represented because it's Mercury, and Mercury is transportation and communication or space travel. It could bring in also some kind of storms, or, something to do with mining accidents as well. And it could be also bring in some kind of heroism as well. And what we have to know about Curb and Venus and Neptune over here, right? Because the conjunction gonna happen over here. It is the dreams of love, beauty, and peace, or fame, even, right? It's risky, but it could be burning also and crashing as well. But definitely could bring in fame. Just be careful not to be self-deception, and not the fame not built on vanity, because then it's going to be fallen. But also it could bring in a woman, a spiritual figure, a healer who could actually take a central place in a geopolitical land, take over, for example, a male position like a king position or a leader position. Definitely could happen with that. And also it could bring in also some kind of celebrities or artists going to, like some kind of rises over there. So for example, someone who was not really well known, out of nowhere, somebody becomes famous with their song, one hit, and like the Despacito before. And it's going to bring in major fame, but also it could be like someone going to have some kind of scandals and going to fall from fame. Like what's her name, Taylor Swift or whatever, a scandal behind her, and then she's going to fail somehow. And transportation disasters definitely possible during this time, airplanes and electric cars, or space accidents for sure, and also financial crashes as well. Anything to do with, because Venus is in detriment and Aries burns up everything, right? And Venus rules the financial axis of Taurus, right? And it is beauty product, luxury product, NFT art, for example. And also Neptune is healing industries, right? Something with fraud could actually emerge from those kind of industries as well. And it could also bring in some kind of climate disaster because of, they are going to mismanage green technologies, and it could create some kind of coastal tragedies, anything to do with floods and storms. Because of the technology, they're going to be very optimistic, and they think it's working very well, and they rely on that. And when that kind of green technology, or that kind of, like, for example, trying to save the coastal areas from hurricanes, and it's not going to work somehow. It could be also some kind of fallen angel moment, it could be like there is an icon of purity and peace, but that icon of purity and peace going to get exposed, something to do with, like some kind of sexual scandal or manipulation, and it's going to be betrayal and deceit for that, but we thought it's an angel and wanted to have only good for us. Um, Yes, and there could be also because we're going to have a lot more healers and creative visionaries during this time. And, let's talk about actually Cassandra and Child and Abundancia, and also the sextile to Sedna in Gemini. And, as I said, for example, the sextile is Venusian in flavor. So it's bringing in another Venusian energy for us. And the core is already given with Venus and Neptune because Neptune also the higher octave of Venus. So there is a lot of compassion, there is a lot of sacrifice, that is a lot of self-inspiration and dream. And because it's in Aries, it's very, raw instinct, it's sensual awakening, for example, because Aries ruled by Mars. But the conjunction with Cassandra, and Cassandra, the mythology and the energy of Cassandra over here, Cassandra is the prophet, cursed to always tell the truth but never be believed. So, for example, we will see people saying the truth over and over and over again, but they still not watched or believed, or they still going to say, no, that's fake news, and that's not true over here. So that is Cassandra in mythology. And actually, in conjunction with Neptune and Venus, you're going to sense the truth about, the future, for example, and uh, and you're going to want to talk about that in your YouTube channel or write about that, and nobody going to believe you. They're going to think you crazy and call you crazy and ignore you, right? So it is also you can have a lot of prophetic dreams and visions, like warnings, and you can even put that in art and poetry and songs because that is actually Neptune and Venus over here. But, it is like, it could be also like Neptune is also jail as well. So they could put the ones who speaks the truth and tells the truth, they can put them in jail. For example, I told you guys, I'm really worried about Candy Soben somehow, and Tucker as well, Tucker Carlson, not to put them somehow in jail or, compromise them, because it could be something like that. Definitely prophetic visions through dreams and creative project as well. Um, and then let's talk about the child, asteroid child, because they also going to conjunct. And, asteroid child is innocence and vulnerability and new beginnings. It is also the inner child going to be activated within us. And it is sacred emotional tenderness, but also could bring in some kind of huge danger. Why? Because it could be, like the innocence of the child, the the naivety of a child. And unfortunately, it could be like, because Kirby is over there as well, and its Venus is in detriment, falling, its detriment, the war energy of Aries over here could bring in more casualties in war areas with children. So there could be a lot more death of children, unfortunately, in the recent wars around the earth, Middle East over there right now, Yemen, right now, India and Pakistan. Oh my God, what is happening with us? And this is crazy, and it's very, very disappointing for me. But also that could happen, like we're going to heal our inner child, for example, the positive of this through music or art. We're going to be drawn to art. Uh, Definitely, and music as well. It could be really magical to get connected with your children, because you see what's going on around the world, and you want to spend a lot more time with your children. And abundancia actually is wealth and prosperity, right? It is like a cosmic supply which is flowing to us, right? And actually, I'm recording that on the new moon in Taurus. And today I do a lot of, what is that? A lot of my traditions, my seance. And it is I have my altar and I'm actually praying to Venus today, and Venus still in exaltation, and it's still almost on the exaltation degree on her throne. She didn't leave her throne yet because it's still within 1 degree. So it's 28 degree, very early minutes, and 27 degrees is her exaltation throne. So today it's still everything is beautiful for Venus here. So obviously, abundancia also at 1 degree in Aries over here, the cosmic supply which is flowing in. So you can have an altar for Venus and abundancia to bring in money. You can project on your or screens and TV. You know what I love? I have the Louise Hay meditations of abundance, and I just love her meditations, definitely. And because she always said, everything is flowing into your life. It's given, and you have to imagine you are provided from multiple sources, and just check out Louise Hay meditations. I mean, she was an incredible woman, and she really knew how to actually get rid of financial blockages with affirmation. She used a lot of affirmations. And it could bring in sudden flow of money, or actually it doesn't have to bring in money, but it could bring in opportunity, supplies, anything to do with visionaries, people who wants to help you, who want to help you to manifest your dream, your purpose, your wealth. But also it could bring in instant wealth as well. But don't chase, because when you chase the wealth, then it could bring in false promises. So align with spirituality and manifest through spirituality. Because financial miracles going to happen through surrender and not through control, guys. That's very, very important. And when it's going to sextile to Sedna in Gemini also, Sedna is actually betrayal and abandonment and sacrifice and deep emotional bonding, right? Because it's believed her father, but the father, like cut her fingers off. She was holding on to the boat, and then she sank. But then she rise into sea goddess and empowerment. So eventually she became a sea goddess through that kind of betrayal and that kind of sacrifice over here. So it might going to feel like somebody betrayed us and abandoned us, or we sacrificed ourselves for someone, and those people are not necessarily or we should connect them ever again, but through that kind of heartache or betrayal, we become someone or something which is divine, which is like somehow gonna become a goddess. Actually, it's going to turn out to be positive. A challenge, a betrayal going to turn out positive. And the sextile itself, it is opportunity healing through communication, storytelling, or speaking, right? Because it's in Gemini, and we have to bring in the Gemini archetype over here. So it is speaking and storytelling, right? So the betrayer actually becomes a portal to the divine power. And it is also bringing healing through your wounds, because you're telling and talking about your wounds, and it's also giving opportunity for others to grieve and honoring grief and heal. And it is a sacred healing, a sacred journey. It's not a shame for us, right? So all right, so the what I really wanted to summarize over here, because of the conjunction with Cassandra Child and Abundancia, and also the sextiles with Sedna, your truth is very precious. And even if others doubt it, stay still and say your truth even when your voice are shaken. And your creativity also very, very sacred. And definitely create something like with the heart of a child, and wisdom of a prophet and the strength of the goddess who has survived loss. Very, very important. Be willing to work away from false paradise, something what is pretend, because you need to find the real abundance, the real prosperity, wealth, and healing over here. So enough from the pretend kingdoms and give me the real love and real abundance. All right. Okay. So let's talk about recent, geopolitical and global situation. So, for example, this whole Venus, Neptune, and Venus is in detriment in the sign of Aries. The lover, Venus and Mars were lovers, but they never became a couple, right? And actually, it could be something like a world leader going to declare publicly peace or intentions for peace, but secretly going to found some kind of armed conflict, right? So, what you can think of that? We can think of the Middle East, right? Or even Russia and Ukraine, or any kind of recent war activity. They're going to say, okay, we're going to have a ceasefire and we're going to have peacekeeping right now and humanitarian worker, and we're going to not gonna actually support military aid, but secretly they're still going to have private contractors and anything to do with groups which is actually aiming, and they are giving the arm for them to still going on with the conflict there. So yes, that could happen, definitely. And because of this, there will be some kind of mass protest because of Neptune is betrayer over here, but also it's leaking the truth out, right? And the public is going to, the protest is going to escalate because of that. And you won't be able, it's a synodic cycle, they won't be able to stop the people anymore. It could be also some kind of global scandal, anything to do with, public figures, partnership, or marriages. For example, Venus, Neptune over here, illusionary, right? Somebody get married, but they're gonna divorce right away. Or somebody's marriage going to come to surface. It could be a royal couple, it could be politicians, and you already know they divorced or they are not living together for 10 years. They just pretend to be together, right? It was something looked like a fairy tale marriage, right, on the world stage, but actually in reality, it is some kind of financial blackmail between the couple or some kind of wiretaps, right? So it's masked in some kind of romance, but it's not. And when the public going to read about it, know about it, that it's going to be actually some kind of documents leaking out, and it's going to make the public angry, right? As well. And it could be also some kind of sudden soft diplomacy efforts between long-standing enemies, right? And it could be some kind of two historically hostile countries suddenly announce friendship, right? And join together some kind of humanitarian efforts. And but why are they doing that? Because of they want to grab some kind of position, or they want to take over with military some other countries, for example. So this is actually two rivals going to lead to unexpected technology transfers or military access there, for example. And then also, then could be some kind of women rights protest going to flare after a feminine icon is have been manipulated politically, for example. And we're going to learn about that. And then, it's going to be like calling for activists and influencers. And there is going to be, because Neptune is really glamour and influencers as well, we're going to have a lot of actresses and influencers who are going to campaign for women rights, for example, as well. And yeah, so there could be that as a outcome for Venus and Neptune in Aries, because Aries is the warrior within, right? And yeah, so it could be also like some influencer could become a geopolitical pawn, right? You know, chess game, Gambit, guys. All right, so they're going to promote some kind of, political propaganda, which is actually going to be false and pretend as well. Something to do with, all right, it's gonna be a peace concert, right? And the foundation is going to the Palestinian children, or any kind of war um, destruction area, and they're going to actually steal the foundation, the money that they actually raised. So that could be, and then it's going to obviously damage their reputation. But anyway, it could happen. Um, and also because of Venus rules Libra and Taurus, right? And in Taurus, it rules currency, money, it rules copper and sugar, right? So and luxury stocks and cosmetics as well, and fashion brands. And those actually can experience some kind of irrational market surges right now, but it's going to experience market surge due to some kind of false promises. And after that, when it's going to be seen, it was just false promise and it's not working the way it's supposed to, the stock price going to become, after it went up so much, it's going to collapse. So some kind of miracle serum, like eternal youth or whatever, which is going to fantasize beauty, like everybody can stay, like the water of youth. What I actually drank in St. Augustine, and oh my God, I was sick so badly. But yes, so something like that. Or designer brands that claims actually some kind of sustainable or anti-aging skincare technology. And actually it's going to create some kind of side effect and burn faces, for example, right? And it could be like a mass return or lawsuit about that product as well. But also let's talk about cryptocurrency as well, because Venus ruled by Taurus and Uranus is traveling in Taurus right now. So let's talk about that as well. And Uranus rules cryptocurrency, so it could be also like something like it could be a spiritual leader, a leader who going to a crypto guru, who going to come up with a new cryptocurrency, a new coin, a new token, right? And it's like, okay, that's some kind of 5D financial awakening, quantum wealth activation, and the follower is going to invest in this because it promises abundance right away. Aries is quick. It's want abundance right away. But it is actually going to crash, and it is that classic kind of pump and dump situation where a lot of people is investing and then they get away with the money, they steal the money. It creates massive financial losses for everyone who actually invested in. Yes, and it could be also, like wellness retreat brands merges together, for example, in a tech platform and promising some kind of AI mindfulness over there. And it could actually give, for example, AI could give people like advices, like for suicidal people, but somehow it's going to create give the worst advices or create massive suicides because of whatever on some kind of trends on social media or some kind of AI programming. It could be some kind of massive suicide as well during this time. But on the app, have you ever invested in NFT? I did, wonderful, because I lost like $4,000. Anyway, whatever I have left in, I put that in Stellar and Ripple, and I regrained everything right away. But yeah, when you are starting to invest, you want to have actually a diverse portfolio. You want to start with little things, and but I have to tell you, always take profit out. You know. Time to time, because you don't want to have, at the beginning when you're learning, for example, about cryptocurrency or learning about stock, that's very important. But okay, so for example, but I wanted to talk about the NFT, right? The AI generated beauty avatars, or, going to be sold. And it could be also like, all right, right now everybody wants to sell. So for example, they start to invest again because it's gonna start to go up quickly, and then they're going to actually turn out it's something to do with fake team, or the some kind of stolen identities behind this kind of new NFT, and then they just want to actually sell it right away. Otherwise, it could collapse, right? So yes, and it could lead to definitely lawsuits as well. So there are going to be a lot of public distrust in crypto art ethics and in cryptocurrency in general as well. It could be also a popular wellness brand is revealed to be actually laundering money, and it is going to be under some kind of spiritual healing service, right? Anything to do with massive yoga or tantra or detox retreat brand, and the company is going to have lawsuit or jailed, perhaps even because Neptune is jail. And in medicine, for example, Neptune also pharmaceutical and medicine as well, it could be also a new miracle. Like it could be some kind of luxury cream also, or something to do with a new miraculous lucid dreaming tablet, for example, or a new capsule which is helping you sleep through the night, but somehow it's going to also help you to with your I don't know, it's like giving you amazing sleeps for the ones who has insomnia, and the sleep, you need the sleep to have your skin more beautiful, and your beauty sleeps, for example. But somehow this new tablet could bring in some kind of nerve damage. So we have to be careful with that new tablets over here, because it's very, very delusional. And it could be also something to do with hormone altering drugs as well, which is actually promised to bring in longevity and beauty, but it could suppress actually emotions and cognitive health as well. Yes, so the other thing, what could happen, for example, it could be like, because of, Neptune doesn't like to be in Aries also. And as I said, Venus definitely it's in detriment. It could bring in some kind of mental health crisis as well. And it could be something in modeling agencies, guys. For example, there is right now a lot of AI going on. So they're going to let go of models also, because of filmography, photography, script writing, everything is changing and becoming AI. I told you guys, by 2028, 50% of the jobs what we are holding right now is going to be AI ruled and generated, unfortunately. So we really have to know and to be ahead of AI, and because of that's the only way we can survive and bypass that kind of uh, uh, loss in jobs, and in purpose. Yes, but as I said, because of Neptune's therapy, so it could be like some kind of ethical panic after giving dangerous advice to trauma victims, and it could be an AI generated therapy bot, right? And so it could replace human counselors, obviously, and going to promise instant trauma release. and actually it's going to create more mental health, and then they're going to need regulation of this. So it could be also because Neptune is the waterway, it's the ocean, right? And it could bring in some kind of, and Mars could be some kind of poison, because Mars also rules Scorpio, guys, and Mars rules Aries, but then you have to check also the Scorpionic side of Mars as well. Um, so it could be something with poison, right? And it could be something like, all right, we're going to find out there is a big industrial company, something to do with Larry Flink or whatever, and they're going to actually put a lot of poison or toxic waste into waters, rivers, things like that. Um, so definitely it could happen. But the good side is there could be also some kind of ceremonial water blessing as well. Uh, and because of, that is Venus and Neptune working together, it's miracles. And with Mars, we are courageous to stand up and to fight and clean and stand up against actually hypocrisy with protests, worldwide protests. We need this mass outrage, and we need political resignations also, because of we don't want them to a leadership, for example, some of them. So they are going to be exposed right now. Definitely, it's happening right now, and it is a synodic cycle. It starts a new cycle, guys. It could be also because of, as I said, the new moon just happened before, and it could be, like some kind of new communities is going to emerge, which is going to be something to do with tantric rituals and healing. But it could be the community which is going to promise this, but it's going to be a false promise, and it's going to be some kind of, focused on some kind of divine feminine and sacred sexuality, right? Because of areas ruled by Mars. And then we're gonna find out there is some kind of sexual abuse in this community, and then like we're going to turn and protest against that. Definitely there is protest, definitely there is justice in it coming in, because we will find out the secret going to be revealed, right? But also on personal and level, guys, it could bring in a karmic soulmate, right? And it could actually trigger some kind of spiritual obsession instead of some kind of true intimacy. It is like in a soulmate level, two people meets and they just look at each other's, and that's like a cosmic orgasm or whatever. But people can fall in love with someone, for example, who is an online persona, who is not real, because Neptune is not real. Ah, yes, so that's what I wanted to talk about. And let's talk a little bit about each individual sign. And I don't really want to talk a lot, but Aries rising, sun and moon is going to happen in your first house. And you fall headfirst into a romance that feels fated but blinds you, and you don't see the red flags. You can meet also someone who feels like a soulmate, and there is instant attraction, and it is also a dreamlike connection, but you ignore warning signs, and you don't have boundaries. There is lack of boundaries, and there is a lot of emotional vulnerability, and also emotional unavailability as well. So also, one day you wake up and you feel done with the old and done with the old you, and you dye your hair, and it's going to be very dreamy, and you change your wardrobe, and you launch a new public persona, and it's going to create some kind of shock around you. You're going to raise some eyebrow, and it could also like you have a vision, for example, and it's very, very mystical insight, and you realize your old work doesn't match your soul anymore. So you're going to go and look into coaching and healing, and it could be through some kind of art as well. but something what is very raw and very authentic. But definitely the lifestyle that you're going to commit to, the new lifestyle could be really actually impulsive as well, because the Aries fire going to burn bridges and clean everything out. For example, you become vegan overnight, okay? And you were actually a carnivore before. All right, Taurus rising sun and moon, it's going to happen in your 12th house. 12th house is anything to do your subconscious, underprivileged. That is also addiction as well, and secret flirtation, and for of affairs as well. But it's more like filmography, photography, anything to do with addiction over here. So it could be some kind of hidden connection with someone, which is also like it's not going to be exclusive. It's behind the curtain because of maybe the person is unavailable, or it is just very magical, but also very dangerous, and it is just secret flirtations here. And all right. And then you're also going to have some kind of vivid dreams, because 12th house is the dreamland, and you're going to be flooded with symbols and anything to do with like you can download something, an art, or art about love or sacrifice, or you can dream about and create some kind of photography or filmography or documentary about the underprivileged over here. Definitely you can go to creative retreats, or even try plant medicine during this time. But writing, music is very important. Dancing, you start, for example, ballroom dancing during this time. You are very, very mystical. It could be also you fall for someone who is unavailable, and it could be some kind of past karmic lesson for you as well. All right, Gemini rising sun and moon is going to happen in your 11th house, and anything to do with a community with this fantasy fueled, right? And it is a group. It is an activist group or an artist group. But you're going to join. It is a new circle for you. But anything to do with, for example, a movement, and you're going to be inspired by them, and you're going to be fired by them. You feel like, that's not even reality. You feel like it's very, very dreamy, everything. You can actually idolize a friend or mentor, then you're going to see them clearly, and it could be some kind of um, disappointment through that. Um, but definitely, because you see their human flaws, and you decide you're going to have to move away from them. And it could be also some kind of creative project to work with people, but it's going to drain you, the group project, to working on a film or, an art event. But collaborating with others, you feel like you are the only one who is working and bringing the magic, and the others are just creating drama and doesn't do anything. But also it could be some kind of, you can have some kind of vision right now, and it could be a shift, a radical shift actually in your vision. And you are actually creating your own mystic circles, for example, social media account right now, and you're going to have more rituals, and you are shifting everything about you, your career, the money from your career could be actually a promotion or some kind of bonus you can get during this time. All right, so also Cancer rising sun and moon is going to happen in your 10th house. 10th house is your career, honor, public recognition, maybe a post, an artwork, a message blows up, and you are celebrated publicly, right? So it's a hype because of because of your fantasies over here. And a spiritual or creative career path also suddenly going to open up for you. And it could put you in leadership right now, right? You can be the teacher, the guide. You can do TED Talks right now about spirituality or money, how to actually not to have a blockage anymore, money blockages. You can be the one who is creating those kind of meditations, right? Affirmations, you're going to start identifying too much with applauses right now and fame. And, it's not necessarily good because it could be later on some kind of fall or betrayal forces. And you have to really try to reconnect with your real essence over here because everything is glamour and, glitter right now, but it's gonna test your integrity, definitely. All right, guys. Then a media job, something, a high-paying gig could come into your life, and somehow, it could pay a lot of money. But you also understand Neptune is there. It's not aligned, and it is might not be the one what is going to give you integrity. It is only going to give you money and fame. Are you going to sell your soul to the devil? Leo rising sun and moon, it's going to happen in your ninth house, which is your worldview, anything to do with foreign matters, passport, foreign countries, teaching in foreign countries, higher education, older siblings, right? So you can meet a guru or a teacher during this time, during traveling, for example, and it's going to awaken something inside you. It's going to actually connect you to with a new philosophy, and your worldview going to change, right? And then also it could bring in a totally new spiritual belief. You can get converted from Judaism to Christianism, or like to Buddhism. So there is definitely going to be a different worldview over here, philosophy, I would say, or religion. Um, and also, you want to take control on your life right now, and you want to travel, and you want to explore during this time, and you might going to take on to some kind of bucket list trip, and it could turn out to be really, really positive for you. But because of it's gonna actually shake you and awake you, like you're going to go to a third world country and you see how lucky you are. But also you can also publish something, and maybe there is a book project, but anything what you wanted to publish, and somehow you feel like, oh my God, they mispronounced my name. I have to right now, or they promise to you something, to write ghost writing, or going to publish your book, but somehow whatever you are provided with, it's not gonna be the one that you like because Venus is in detriment. Virgo rising sun and moon is going to happen in your eighth house, which is sex, taboos, and tax and death and surgeries, the sexual connection going to feel like holy experience, definitely, but it's also going to blur all kind of boundaries, right? So you're not going to really know what's happening around you, and you're also going to have some kind of obsession with your partner over here. You can also inherit something, like it could be a gift, it could be a debt also as well, any kind of karmic string. Okay, I'm going to give you inheritance, but you have to take care of my mother for 10 years, who is actually, handicapped. And so it could be something like that. And you can also bond with someone who shares the same grief or sacrifice, or you both lost someone, or you both have some kind of heartbreak, and you share vulnerability, and that's why you're going to get a sacred connection, which is heavy, but it's very, very sacred, right? And if you have some kind of illusion around intimacy and power as well, I know you are capable to confront that, and you're capable actually to own your power back, and reclaim your power. Libra rising sun and moon, my dears, it's going to happen in your seventh house. Seventh house is passionate relationship, anything to do with, which is actually going to start very fast, and it's burning and awakening. When you meet someone, it really feels like fireworks, you've known each other's forever, and it could be some kind of speed blind date, right? But somehow it's awakened some kind of fire inside in you, and it shifts you. And you also fall for someone who reflects your ideal self. Then you feel lost when they vanish, right? When they ghost you or not showing up anymore. So it could be something to do with, the other people's flaws, for example, and or it could be your flaws, but they project and reflect that on you, and you have to wake up and you have to heal yourself. But definitely there could be a soulmate arriving, but going to test your boundaries, right? And do you have self-worth? Do you have patience? And are you honest, for example? Uh, and also you can realize you've been loving someone who have potentials but not authentic, and then you have to actually give up that relationship. Scorpio rising sun and moon, it's going to happen in your sixth house. And sixth house, anything to do with your tenant, your landlord, your co-workers, your duties, daily routines, anything to do with your pets. So it could be some kind of overwork or over sacrifice, right? At work, for example. You try to fix someone, you try to pay the bills and managing chaos around your you know friends and co-workers and family, and it's going to be an emotional burden over here. You feel like a nurse and nursing everyone, and your own body going to scream for help and gonna say, enough, don't do that, you sacrifice too much, you are not a martyr. You can also romanticize some kind of service, or you can become a martyr in your job, because you're doing everything for five people or instead of five people, right? um, and it could be also like the tenant could lie to you, and they leave without saying, all right, I'm giving you 60 days of or 30 days of whatever, living period over here, or coworkers or your employees. Your employees could be also addict, and right now you will need to maybe drug test them, because of you going to realize someone gonna tell you they are using, and somehow you have to do that, and they going to put you in a position which is not necessarily good. Also, you know what, if you're going to go to the doctor and you get a diagnosis and you don't like, you go and ask for second opinion, because of Neptune is very foggy over here, and I wouldn't take the first diagnosis for sure. But you can start a new healing modality, and it could be some kind of sacred, and it could be something to do with art and holistic method. Or you can adopt a pet also, which is going to be, an animal for you, which is healing you. Sagittarius rising sun and moon, it's going to happen in your fifth house. And fifth house, anything to do with lottery winning, creativity, investment, your children, your creativity. So you create something bold and raw and magical, but project onto it. You can, write a song or come up with a new brand, or you can have a love affair, right? But somehow you realize, okay, it's somehow it is not what I really want. It is very delusional, and it is almost like I'm not in love with the person. I'm just love with the love itself. And it could be also like, all right, you have a muse, right? You a performer, an artist, someone who you work with, and you fell in love with, because you feel like a mirror. That person is a mirror to you, but it could be very radiant. It could be very, like romantic and intense connection through creativity, though. But, it's also going to test you emotionally. And it could be also something like a romantic affair, or children can inspire you to create some kind of artistic, passionate book. For example, write a song, or write a book, for example. And the ache what you had before, or the affairs what you have before, even if it's a breakup, it's going to create some kind of beautiful piece for you. And also, it could be some kind of romantic adventure as well. And it could be something to do with you going with your partner to some kind of spiritual retreat, some kind of tantra, or some kind of I don't know, getaway, just getaway somewhere that is romantic and healing for you and healing for your relationship. And you can get pregnant actually during this time. Capricorn rising sun and moon, it's going to happen in your fourth house, which is family and history and your land, and also it is real estate and living situation. So it could be a family secret, could be revealed, and it's going to shake your identity and your home life, anything to do with your childhood, with your roots, with your ancestors, a story about them. And also it could be like the idea of a home could be also some kind of illusional right now. Like you want to have the perfect home, the perfect family, and right, it does not, perfect is not existing. You find a home which is almost perfect, but you still need to do, some kind of renovation, and you refuse to do that because you are living in fantasy. It could be also like some kind of relocation, which is going to be spiritual, because you feel like this land is you connected because of your previous life, and it could actually heal some kind of old wounds as well. Or it could be also like you are going to engage in some kind of rituals which could heal ancestral grief and get rid of actually family karma as well. Um, or you can have some kind of memorial altar. Somebody dies who is old and just sleep into, uh, into death, and then you're going to create some kind of altar for the person as well. Yes. And then Aquarius rising sun and moon, it's going to happen in your third house. Third house is actually neighbors, siblings, and the familiars, right? It is your vehicles, it is anything what you learn as well. And, it could be like somebody, a neighbor, for example, or a sibling going to become a mirror for you, for your own fantasies. And someone close could show where you've been living in illusion and where you had actually false expectation about connection and loyalty or belonging. And you are also inspired to write, speak, and teach right now, but it has to be mystical conversation, or it has to be something to do with poems and esoteric knowledge, or holistic healing. Learning tarot cards or astrology. Miscommunication definitely possible because of Neptune's fogginess and mist, and it could create chaos definitely. And the words are slippery. It promises a lot, but it's misunderstood, right? It is like the snowball effect, which is going to become an avalanche over here. So be careful what you are saying and what you are promising. And you can also receive a lot of psychic message. You can actually for a walk or drive, and you're just going to have flashes. For example, the portal is opening, or you start to scribble on a paper, and then you realize you wrote a lot and you get a lot of message. All right, Aquarius rising, sun and moon. Oh no, actually that is oh my God, which one I was talking about? Pisces rising, sun and moon. It's going to actually happen in your second house. And second house is anything to do with self-worth and morals and values and the gift what you can make. Money with sidekick of money, right? And it is the money what you earn. So you are capable to invest in some kind of magic, some kind of courses, or even objects, anything what feels magical, right? And you're going to realize, it's not what you really wanted. Um, And also, there could be something to do with you're going to have actually, you're going to redefine your self-worth and your values. And it's going to based on spirituality. You realize abundance isn't about chasing money. It's actually about honoring your talents and trusting your path and believing you deserve to be supported. You can also start offering your gifts in a more public or raw way, for example, to people. Finally, something to do with healing abilities or your real talents, anything which is connected with art and healing could go up to marketplace, and you can also make money out from that. And it could also trigger some kind of old story about possessions, money, and desire. It could have some kind of romantic connection with it, obviously, because Venus is over there, and some kind of jealousy as well. So be careful, not to give money for a lover or borrow money from a lover, or because of it could bring in some kind of conflict for you guys. All right, guys. So I hope you learned a lot with me again, and I truly love to be here with you guys. I'm going to come up with more video as I promised, but I definitely very, very grateful and honored you are choosing me as your co-pilot. And please help me to grow my channel with sharing every single social media platform. I would appreciate that. And I thank you to be here with me. Bye for now.